Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Smart's weekly Q&A. This week's theme will be customer setup. You're not required to ask questions on that theme, but we try to keep it focused in that direction. Um, if you are new to Zoom or to our routine here, you'll notice along the bottom of the screen, there's a row of icons in the middle. Participants is on the far left. I'm not sure if you see that, but there's one called reactions, and it's got a little heart icon. And if you click on it, you'll see a button that says raise hand. And that is how we would like you to let us know that you have a question. And then we'll call on you and unmute you, and you can ask your question, and we'll get into it. Angie, think I think Angie was first there. Hey, can you hear me?
Margie.
Margie. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. I've been called worse.
All right, how we doing? What can I do for you?
I'm doing well. Um, we have only had Smart for about 6 months now, and I'm not a daily user of it. But one of the questions that we have had or issues that have come up with adding like a business who has multiple customers underneath the business that they want to add.
Mhm.
That seems to we had y'all set the first one up, and then when we tried to set one up ourselves, it won't let us take payments. It's only
Okay,
allowed payments to go to the individual customer instead of to the master account.
gotcha.
We had done wrong possibly with that.
Okay, so I think I know exactly what that is, and if you'll bear with me a quick second, I'm going to pull up a test account on a demo instance so I can show you what I think is probably the issue. All right, get my screen shared here. Okay, can you see my screen okay? I hope it's
Yes.
big enough. All right, so I'm looking at this, again, this is just a test account. It's a standard account right now, but if I switch it to a group master account, I got some options over here on the right side regarding the type of group. So what you want, sounds like, is a master billing account, which
Right.
will centralize the billing so that all the orders of the sub accounts are paid for by the master account.
Okay.
Sounds like what you've got now is a general group, and it just needs to be switched over to master billing, and that should take care of it. If you run into any issues that it doesn't seem to fix it, feel free to reach out to support, and we'll take a closer look. But based on your description, I'm pretty confident that's what the problem is.
Yeah, I think we tried. That's what we tried to do was switch it, and it wouldn't let us switch it. So that's we've been playing with it for a couple of days now, or the girls have, and they had not fixed it yet. So I told them, I says, "Well, today's the day. I'm gonna find out what we're doing wrong." But I'm thinking that it may just be permissions that they don't all have the same permissions that I have. I have permissions to do everything, and so I may just tell them to use my ID just to see if that makes a difference,
Yeah,
to allow them to do that. Because I know there are certain permissions that they can see things and some they can't. And
yeah,
I have like administrator permission, so I can do pretty much everything. But since I'm not there every day, it kind of messes them up sometimes and being able to do something. Okay.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, and if that doesn't work out, like I said, just reach out, have them reach out to support, or you can either way, and
Okay.
we'll take a look and figure that out for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, we did have some questions that were submitted, I think by email. So I'm gonna go through a couple of those until somebody raises their hand. Let's see. Someone asked about the best way to set up customers in a multi-customer stop, i.e. a building, so that they can message customers and show proof of delivery right from the phone without having to go to a master stop. So the way Smart works with deliveries, with group deliveries, is the the intended setup that's designed specifically for this is in fact to use a master stop. However, that does sacrifice some of the messaging, the route-based notifications that the sub accounts will get. So if it's like an apartment building, the residents won't get, say, pickup reminders and things like that. What they will get instead is a delivery completed confirmation message. So if the goal, and often the goal is in this case, when someone asks a question like this, to provide the customers with full messaging, then the best way to organize that, I think, is probably instead of setting it up as a delivery master, let each of those customers be their own individual route customers, but put them all on a sub route that's dedicated just for that building. That way you have an agent that is specific to that building so you can track its sales, and it can help you just organize them in reports. And all the customers will get their own individual messaging and have individual stops. And then you can verify on an individual basis, whether, say, the driver took a signature or whatever other proof of delivery settings you're using. So that covers most of the needs. When again, I don't know what this client was, all their goals here. So just answering the question as presented, a sub route is probably the better solution in that case.
Here, let's see if I can, well, it's going to change my name. But anyways, it's Kathy from Benzinger's Clothing Care. And I was just wondering, looking for recommendations for store scanners. Or if you
Store
could,
scanners.
yep, put the
So
link
you mean
and,
just like a handheld
yep,
regular old scanner?
for
Yep.
for detailing and racking.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm
Put
gonna
it in
ask
the,
one of my associates here in the room with me to pull that link up and throw it in the chat.
perfect. Thank you.
There's probably got to be a couple different models we'll recommend. Would you prefer wireless or wired?
Wireless, please.
Okay. Yeah, we'll throw some in there.
Perfect.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see who's next.
And just for everyone that just joined, at the bottom of the screen, if you do want to speak, you're going to see a react or reactions button. All you got to do is raise your hand. Someone's going to unmute you, and then you should be able to ask your question. There we go.
Thanks, Chris. I've been looking for the hand for like the last 5 minutes. I know I've seen it before. I just didn't know where it is. Well, thank you again. So I have a very similar question to the one someone asked a second ago. But I guess if you take that further, how do you assign the sub accounts to that master billing?
Hey, Elton, this is Mike again. So when a master billing is a group, so
Yep.
whatever accounts you add to the group are automatically also part of the billing aspect of the group if it's a billing group. So any sub account in the group is automatically going to have all their orders billed to that master.
Got it. So
Does that
first I
answer your
go and I create a billing account for XYZ company.
Yep.
Then I go to Elton and I add Elton as a sub account to the XYZ company. Is
Yep.
that the way I handle that?
Yep. On Elton's account, you would go to the admin tab and then under group, select the billing group that you created and then save, and it'll add him to the group. And then he'll be billed
Perfect.
to that master from then on.
And the second question to follow up on that, how do you set up? Actually, let me think about that, and I will come back to the queue.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Actually, sorry. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, go for it.
So we already, unfortunately, we didn't have the time to set up the proper accounts, and we detail some items. It's like a uniform account. There's a bunch of employees, maybe 20 in total, and we detail the first batch under the company, which is the billing. Should we just create an order and then move that ticket to that new individual person just to make it easier on the detailing side?
You could. What's the reason that you're detailing it first on the master before you would want to move it?
Well, because we didn't know how to do this, what you just did.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, I mean, that would work. You can do that. If you know what sub account you're detailing for, you'll save yourself a couple of steps if you detail directly on the sub account. But if you
But the only
have,
problem is if you detail the sub account and you have already put those, well, let me ask you the question then. If I detail on the sub account and I have previously detailed on the master account, is there a conflict on that barcode?
Oh, okay. So there could be, but that's easily solved by linking the sub accounts to the master account. That's also on the admin tab. It's there's a little field in the very center of the admin tab called linked accounts, and you put the account ID in there for each account you want to link. And the effect this has, it doesn't like merge accounts or anything. What it does is just give them a wardrobe pool. So it combines
Got
the
it.
wardrobe of all the linked accounts. And so any of those accounts can scan one of the heat seals and it'll go on their order. And so just to be clear, you don't necessarily usually need to link sub accounts with each other. Just make sure each sub account is linked to the master. And that should
Yeah,
take care of it.
but they are paying per person. So ideally, employee A and B shouldn't commingle close. So I would not
Oh,
want
okay.
to put it all in one pool.
I gotcha. So it
So
sounds
we're
like you
gonna
have
go
a
with
bunch of
the
heat
other one.
seals. I see. Sounds like you have a bunch of heat seals under this master that actually belong to the sub accounts. And
Exactly.
there is a way that we could move them like permanently. It Whether it's feasible kind of depends on how many heat seals there are and how many sub
Mhm.
accounts, but I can help you with that.
Okay.
If you want to put a support ticket in and let us know you need to do that, and we'll take a look and
Perfect.
see if we can get it done.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, you're welcome. Okay. Yeah, and just another reminder real quick. I tried to put a little screenshot of the button in the chat and it won't let me. The reactions button, which is how you raise your hand, is in the row of buttons along the bottom of the screen in the Zoom user interface. It's a little heart-shaped icon. It says reactions, and then when you click on it, you'll see a button that says raise hand. So if you have a question to ask, you can do that, and we'll get a little notification that you've raised your hand. I see Margie again. Are you there? Let me see
Yeah,
if I can get
I
you
don't know
unmuted.
why my screen
There you go.
keeps going away, but yeah, I can see where Elton's having trouble because mine keeps disappearing. It's like it'll pop up and it'll go away. And it's like, okay, where'd that button go?
Huh,
But
okay.
just to help him out too, I don't know if he's heard this. This was a problem we initially had with multiple um, customers under one master account
Mhm.
was the payments. If each individual person wanted to pay individually, we had to make the payment on the master account in order for it to take. I don't know if he's run across that or not, but I just thought I'd mention that to him because we didn't understand what it was doing. Because when we did it to the individual account, it would take the payment, but it wouldn't say that they had been paid until we rolled it over to the master account, and then it said it was.
Gotcha.
So that was something that we ran into when we started doing those master accounts that I thought was rather interesting, but it can kind of make somebody mad if they're not if they're not aware of it.
Sure. So
But the question
just
I had was
yeah, go
about
ahead.
someone prepays, a customer prepays,
Mhm.
bring their clothes in and they want to pay right away, and we do the prepay function to go ahead and set that as prepaid. It's not showing up on our Z reports at the end of the day. And that's throwing off my account because they're like, we don't see these. We never see this payment going through until it goes to the bank. Is there any way to show that somewhere else? Because like on even the customer report, if I printed out the dailies of what transactions that happened that day, it doesn't show up. It just kind of puts it out there as a credit for that customer until they pick up their clothes.
Yeah, okay. So I'd have to look at the Z reports. I hadn't noticed that before. So I'll check that out. But as far as where you can see prepayments, yes, you can. In the reporting module under financials, there's a subheading called credits. And this actually has sort of arguably 4 different reports on it. There's 2 different versions of credits created and credits used. And the versions are just one is an aggregate view that just shows you it sums everything up, and the other one it shows you the individual transactions. So the first report on the page is going to show you credits created. One of the ways that credits are created is by prepayments. And there's a column dedicated to prepayments. So you can just check the number on that column for whatever date range you're looking at, and you'll have your prepayments.
Okay, cool. So I just need to print a second page to the report basically to show her that those are the ones that were prepaid that day and aren't going to show up. Okay, that'll be helpful for her because she was just freaking out. She's like, we didn't take this payment. I'm like, yeah, we did. We got the credit card to prove it. And she's like, well, yeah, she's a stickler for numbers. But that
Well,
helps.
that's good to have on your team,
Yeah, yes.
right?
but she's never there. We have to send her 2 or 3 emails, so that's the problem, and that she doesn't see what we actually see. So, but
Hmm.
this second page will really the page that shows created will help us if we include that. Then that'll
Good.
take care of our prepays.
Good.
And,
Glad to hear that.
yeah. Okay, I think that was all my questions for right now. I may think of another one as I'm going on.
Okay. Sure.
Thank you.
I
You're
wanted
welcome.
to mention something quickly just in regards to the master accounts. And I know, Margie, you actually said something about this real quick, and it's easy to miss. If you have a customer that's hooked up to a master billing account and they do come in one day and they say, hey, this is a personal order, or, I'm going to be paying for this. I don't want this billed to, the master account. Right on the order when you create it. Let me see here if I can share my screen. When you create the order, you have a billing account here. So you can act like this person's getting billed to a Leap in Learning right now, but you can actually change it back to their personal account and it will make them pay for it on their personal account.
Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All righty. So I don't see anyone else looking to ask a question, so I'll just go through my spiel. If you do need to ask a question, you want to do what we call raising your hand. The way you do that is check the buttons along the bottom of the Zoom window. There's one called Reactions. Click on it, and it has a button that says Raise Hand. It's just for anybody who may have come in or missed that earlier. I won't do that for the whole hour. All right, I think I got one. Marlene.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, yes I can. How
Hi.
are you?
I'm good. So question on where I always get jammed up is we take in a very large order for a client, 20 orders, and then they want a copy of their invoices. So my team will, text or email them 20 different receipts. What is the correct, or how do we send an invoice or kind of like in a statement form to the client so they see all of the items and then they see the prices. I've done order, invoice, and I always come up with 0.
Okay. I think my recommendation would probably be to use an open invoice.
Okay.
And the main reason for choosing that over a regular invoice is simply that open invoices are neutral. They don't impact the way anything ages. They don't interfere with other billing documents. So you can have as many open invoices as you want, and the statement is still going to show the full month when it's generated.
Okay, so let's go. So you go to payment, and in the top there is open invoices.
Yeah.
You pick okay, so is it created or is it AR or is it
So good. Great question. I was just going to get to that. So since in your scenario, no, you're fine. In your scenario, this customer brought in, a whole bunch of clothes, a whole bunch of stuff to clean, and you created a bunch of different orders. Presumably, those orders all get created on the same day or probably within a day or two of each other. So I would use created date and just try to narrow it down as much as you can so you don't get any other orders that might be on their account. And in this case, you can probably use open orders unless you think you've finished some of it, in which case I would probably use all orders.
Well, no, we haven't finished it. We just have detailed it, entered everything into the system. The client says, okay, don't do anything with those 24 different orders until I see how much everything is. So that's when we want to send them. You can't send them a statement because that, hasn't gone through any AR or anything. So it's created date and open orders. Okay.
And that should list everything. And then as far as the particular details, you can suss that out with, the statement settings in the customer's profile. I don't know how familiar you are with some of those settings and what they do, but if you're not getting the right information on the open invoice, we can help you tweak that to get what you need.
Okay, so I just did all that, and what I ended up with is 0. Open invoices 0.
All right.
Let me check something out. Maybe this order, maybe they went through the system already and actually finished it. So I should go look at that.
Okay, I'm gonna try and get logged into you real quick.
Yeah, my recommendation, Marlene, is definitely the created date if they were all created on the same
Mhm.
date, and then all orders.
Created. Mm-hmm. Okay,
And that might do it if you don't get it
Okay.
with open orders.
got it. Okay, sounds good.
Alrighty.
Another question while you're here. So we have shipping clients, and when we are shipping an order to a client, we create the order, and then we have to make an individual invoice for the shipping charge. Shipping charges vary based on size and weight. Where would I see if shipping is a separate category monetarily?
Well, it's going to depend on how it's set up in your system.
Mhm.
Based on the way you described it, I assume it's a price list item.
It is.
And I actually happen to have just logged in here. So let me see if I can find that. Shipping is, so it's
Let's-
currently assigned to the department. It's the miscellaneous category, or I'm sorry, the NISC category, abbreviated miscellaneous. And the department is also miscellaneous,
Okay,
which
need
in
to fix
Smart
that.
is like a catch-all default department. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would probably assign it to a dedicated department, maybe
I
even
don't
just
know
for
how
that
to do that.
purpose. Okay. So if you know how to get to the price list, then
Got
you go settings, detailing and pricing, stop right there. Don't go all the way to price lists, but instead, there's a button on that page called departments.
Hold on. Right, got it.
Yep. And when you get there,
Well, hold on. I just got a big warning. Danger,
yeah,
danger, Will Robinson. Continue.
yeah, that's good. We
Okay.
want that. So that is just
Okay.
a reminder there to anyone in your position who may be
Mhm.
modifying their departments. If you add departments, you will probably want to check your tax configuration and add them there if they're
Got it.
taxed.
Okay.
That's why that's there. So
Okay.
here, yep, there's a button you can add a new department, and then once you've done that and saved it, you go to the price list, find your item, and assign it to that department.
Add a new. Okay. We're gonna
Mhm.
call it, got it. Shipping.
Sure, yeah, that's up to you.
Yep.
That's what I would go
Okay.
with. Yeah.
Okay. Save. Now what about in configuration applies to what?
So the tax configuration
No
is
tax. It doesn't matter.
okay, cool. Then all you need to do now is you go back into the actual price list, find
Okay,
that
stop.
shipping.
Hold on. I still have
Yep.
show and detail check. None of these get checked.
Oh,
Show and
yeah, yeah.
customer, show order per piece.
Right. Okay. So those settings are, since you don't have them checked for any other departments, you don't need to worry about them
Nope.
here. I
Okay,
can explain what
got
they
it.
are if you like.
No,
Okay.
it's okay.
Cool. Yep. So once
Okay.
that's saved,
Mm-hmm.
back into the price list and find that shipping item.
Reports. Not reports, settings. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now where am I going? Price list, detail and
Mhm.
pricing.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
price list,
And then in that,
shipping.
yeah, that search bar on the left.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's there.
Yep. So if you click the settings button for that item,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a new panel of some checkboxes and drop-down menus. And to the left is department and category. And so you can change that
Got
department
it.
right there. Yep. And then just make
Brilliant.
sure you save in the top right when you're done.
Okay. Wow. Look at how easy something is when you know you're with somebody who knows how to do it. Okay. And I don't
Yeah.
have to put a base, well, it says category, so we're changing the category to shipping as well, right?
If you want to, I didn't walk you through making a
No.
shipping category, but it's exactly the same steps, except instead
Okay.
of using that department screen, you use the category screen.
Okay, got it.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Save.
Okay. Good deal. Let's see. Elton looks to be next.
Hey, Mike, one
Hey,
last question just to kind of piggyback
yeah.
on actually Marlene's questions. I just remember I have two clients, large customers with a bunch of tickets, They want the monthly invoices with a copy of each ticket, with a copy of each invoice. It's the biggest pain.
Mhm. Yeah. So there is a way to configure that on the account. Um, it's there's a combination of settings that'll give you that reliably. I actually, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what it is, so I would want
I'm
to look at it.
happy
But
to take it offline, but it take me hours to do that. Hours not end.
oh
So if you
man, yeah,
gotta,
no, Smart will do it for you. Smart can put
okay,
all the invoices as like their own, just list them
yep.
separately, but in the same document inside a
Sorry, not less
billing
than a
invoice.
copy of the invoice. Not just a list of invoice, a
Okay. Oh
copy
no,
of the
no,
actual
no. That
invoice.
that's what I mean. It is, and
Okay, got it, got it.
it's like you could take a pair of scissors and cut it out of that sheet of paper,
Yep,
and you'd have just a
exactly.
standalone invoice. Yes,
Exactly.
that's what I
That's what
mean.
they want. All right,
Yep.
beautiful.
So
I
yeah, so
get
just I would reach out to support, and we'll get that set up.
beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see if I can get you unmuted there.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How's it going, Zach?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good, quite well. Thank you.
This isn't technically on topic for like the new customer creation, but I figured if no one else had a question, then uh we've been struggling recently with our cameras and picture taking during detailing.
Okay.
Some of our pictures are more of our pictures are blurry than we'd want. And I'm suspect like most likely it's our detailers are just moving too quickly and not letting the like the software focus.
Yeah,
Um,
could be.
but I was just curious, do you guys, I mean, we bought our cameras a couple years ago when we switched to smart. Do you still recommend the same type of detailing cameras? And could it also be impacted by the speed of the computer? Could that be impacting the quality of the pictures being taken?
So, okay. Regarding the camera, I last I looked, yeah, we do still recommend. I think it's the Logitech C920
Yes.
90 series, I believe. Yeah, those should all work just fine with Smart. Uh, I I may be speaking outside my expertise here. I don't think the computer's overall performance will impact the picture quality per se, although if the computer's running a little slower, there may be a delay between when they expect the photo to be taken and when it's actually taken. And so maybe during that delay, they start moving the garment because they think it's already been taken. And so you get some blur. One possibility. Another possibility I think is probably more likely is that whatever the camera is mounted on is vibrating a little bit. Maybe it's not quite as stable as it could be. I've definitely seen that before. I've actually seen a camera mounted on a conveyor, and that didn't work very well. So I would take a look at a couple of those things, and hmm, I'd actually kind of be a little curious to see like what the blur looks like. Is it just a general fuzziness, or does it seem to have a direction to it, or anything like that?
No, it's just like a like I said, I really suspect
Just
my
lower
detailers
resolution
aren't
kind of thing.
taking enough time. Like it's
Okay,
just like a an unfocused image, or it's not as crisp and clean as I want it to be.
sure, sure. Well, you could check out the my suggestions there, and then verifying that those are not likely causes, then you could turn around to your detailing staff and say, "Hey, we already checked this. It looks like you guys need to slow down a little bit."
We are
Yeah.
working with them. Like one other, thank you. One other related question. The colors of the pictures being taken, and it can sometimes be inconsistent between like smart stations. Is that driven
Huh.
entirely by like just the lighting, or does smart
That
play a role in the color of the pictures at all?
No, I don't think Smart does any sort of filtering or anything like that to the image. Um, that sounds to me like it could either be just differences in sort of color settings on the monitors, or it could be the lighting. I do want to add one thing about the blurry images, though. It's possible that the camera is actually set to autofocus, and it's doing that while the clothes are coming into the frame, and it's simply not like completing that task in time for the picture to be taken without some blurriness. So we could try disabling the autofocus, which I think is going to be in the camera configuration settings. That might help
Interesting.
too.
So we would have to manually rotate the camera or like twist the lens to get it to
Mm,
focus then?
No, I doubt it. If it's so, if you're are you using the auto photo setup with the QR code sheet that you put on a table or something?
No, this is just during detailing.
Manual. Okay, right. So no, I mean, if so, the surface you're taking a picture of is going to be a fixed distance from the camera, presumably. So each photo you take doesn't require a different, I think aperture is the right word. You shouldn't have to refocus between photos. So once you get it positioned so that it's clear, every photo then on should be clear. As long as we don't have one of these other issues that's adding blur.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Marlene, you look like you're speaking. You are muted.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
working on trying to correct. Oh,
No,
there you
no,
go.
I got you. Sorry. We had a
So sorry
problem
about
with blurry pictures, and when we use a target, so when we shot the target and saw that it was blurry, we refocused the camera, but it sounds like you're not using the same setup. So I'm not sure that it applies.
Okay, yeah, and that in principle, I mean, that should apply to any camera setup, whether it's automatically triggered or not, where the thing you're taking a picture of and the camera are the same distance from each other consistently. You should be able to, as I just was saying a minute ago, you should be able to get the focus right for that distance, and then anything you take a picture of at that distance should be in focus. Okay. And Zach, I see your question in the chat about a target. So she's talking about something I alluded to where there's one of the versions of autophoto, or well, the autophoto rather, in Smart relies on a printout that has a series of QR codes, and you affix this to like a desk or a wall or something in front of the camera. And as long as the camera sees the QR codes, it just waits. Once the QR codes are blocked, it automatically takes a picture a couple moments later. So that's why we call it autophoto, and that's where this target comes into play. Now, Marlene may have been talking about a literal target or something, but in either case, the principle stands. As long as you get it in focus per a given distance, it should be in focus for anything at that distance. And let's see, Margie looks to be back with another
Hopefully
one. Hey,
everybody's done with the camera questions. We don't
sure.
use camera much, so I haven't had questions about that yet. I think they're afraid to death they're going to get caught in the picture. But one of the things I wanted to ask, going back to the settings menu or the settings on the customers and all, when you
Okay.
pull up an individual customer and you have certain settings for that you want to do, or any or all of those just applied to the customer only, or does everything you changed on that go across the board to every customer?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so no, it's customer only. So in Smart, there are, depending on how you're using the system, there are up to 4 different levels in the hierarchy of settings. At the very top are the global settings. So this is when you go settings, business settings, and then system settings from the home screen. You get to your global system settings. Those settings apply to everybody, unless you're using business brands, which is the second tier or the next level down. Brands are basically a group of agents that have different settings. Below brands would be groups, like we were talking about your master groups, your billing groups. The settings that you set on the group level apply to all customers, all sub accounts who are part of that group. And then finally, the very bottom of this hierarchy is an individual account. So whenever you change the settings on an individual account, it only affects that account.
Because I was just concerned when I was looking at some of the things, and I was like, well, if I change this one for everybody, I don't, because some customers do want different things on their invoices.
Mm-hmm.
We deal with a college here, a local college, and some of them wanted to say invoice, and some of them wanted to say statement. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, can you get any pickier, please? Yeah, so it's kind of, it's like nitpicking some, and I kind of feel for Eldon, the same thing is when they want copies of their receipts,
Mm-hmm.
they have 200 receipts in a month's time. It can get real time consuming trying to get
Yeah.
everything printed out and stapled and copied. And yeah, so it's good to know, but I will probably be signing in for that little section too to get that fixed on ours, because that can be very tedious to have to print everything out and then put it all together. So it's
Cool.
nice to
Yeah.
know that Smart will do that. And then the other thing I think I was kind of lost my train of thought on doing these. I think it was on the oh, I know, on emails. If they wanted an email
Mhm.
sent for, or wanted their invoice emailed, is that another option that we have to purchase, or is that something that's available right now? I haven't had anybody ask for that yet. So far, the texting is all I've had to deal with. But I kind of feel like once we get more into invoicing the customers, they may say, instead of mailing it to me, can you email it to me? And I wasn't sure if that was another thing I have to purchase in order to use email.
Oh, no, not at all. So emailing is included with your subscription. If you are a Smart client, then you can email your own customers. And Smart can email them automatically based on certain conditions. Like, for example, if they have a monthly statement. So yeah, there's no extra fee for that. And
Okay.
if it's not already turned on in your system, it's fairly trivial to turn on, but I would recommend that you go through support just so we make sure we're not turning it on for the wrong people and we get all your expectations met correctly. But it's
Okay.
pretty easy to turn on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something we're getting ready to start offering. And so I
Okay.
thought, yeah, because I know I was told by one company a long time ago that I had to get a whole nother phone line to do certain things. And I'm like,
Oh
you know,
man. Yeah.
that's a little tedious. So yeah, I thought I'd ask just to make sure I wasn't going to have to shell out some more bucks. So
Yep.
far,
Not for this one.
love the fact the way y'all do things, and it's all automated. That has been a plus compared to the last system I had. It has been
I'm
really,
really glad to hear that. Yeah, we've
yes,
put a lot of effort into listening to this sort of feedback and creating features that save time, because time is value to a business owner, right? So the more time we can save you, the more you can focus on marketing, growth, and all those things are really important, rather than having to email a bunch of statements and invoices all day long.
yeah, that's going to be a good thing.
Okay, let's see. So we did have a handful of questions emailed in, so I'm going to go over another one of those until someone has raised a hand. This question is, how can we give a partial refund to customers? For example, if one of our CSRs forgets to give a coupon uh, and want to just return the coupon amount instead of having to return the full amount. So there's actually a feature in Smart specifically for this. It's not specific to promotions, but for partial refunds, and the function is called pay a claim. It's a corollary to a refund, where a refund reverses a payment, whereas a claim simply credits them part of the payment back on usually the same payment method. Um, a refund makes the order no longer paid. So if you've paid for an order, it gets the paid status. And then when you refund it, it loses the paid status. Whereas if you pay a claim, it actually keeps the paid status, because a claim specifically is for when there's been a billing mistake. So you overcharge somebody or you damage something and you shouldn't have charged them full price, whatever that might be, you can pay a claim to make up that difference. And you'll see the claim option in the payment ledger on the customer's account. So when you go to the place where you go to do the refund or to check out their statement or whatever, right next to the entry for the sale, when the order goes into AR, there will be a button for pay a claim next to that order. And that's how you do that. And I just want to make it clear for anyone who is new to this concept, if you want to go try it, please understand it's not reversible. If you accidentally enter a claim the wrong way or for the wrong amount or on the wrong account, now we can make the account whole, but the claim itself is not reversible. You can't void a claim. So that's something to keep in mind.
Also, to keep in mind for claims, it should only be store manager and above level. So if a regular CSR is not seeing it, an admin or someone that's store manager should log in and they should be able to see it and process it.
Yep, great point. Thank you, Gina. Ellison.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you. Can you show me where
Oh,
that
sure.
is? Because that is a ongoing issue for first time coupons and BS that I just.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a test account that has an example real quick.
Can you see my screen?
I see a screen. I don't know what screen this is.
Yeah, you
Yep,
should
that's
see my cursor over pay.
Mary. Yep, Mary something. Yep.
Yeah, so right on the payment tab for the customer, you'll
Mm-hmm.
just find the original sale and you
Yep.
can pay a claim.
Oh, pair claim has always been there because I'd seen it there for years. I just never use it. Okay,
Yep.
got it. And that will allow me to do what somebody mentioned as a partial refund, and then use that
Correct.
coupon or whatever it is to the balance of that amount.
Well, they're speaking in the regard of they charge someone full price, and then after they were charged, they noticed that the coupon was not applied. So they
Trust me,
just
same
simply
thing
want a
here.
refund.
Every day, same thing. I
Yeah,
get it.
so they simply just want to refund the amount of the coupon. Yeah.
All right, this is super helpful. Really appreciate that.
Mhm.
all right, great. Thank you for that clutch demonstration, Gina. Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's an easy way to add new customers under an existing group. And then apply like the credit card information that's saved on file for that group to any new customer that might be added while still giving
Yes.
them their own profile.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, that another great question. I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you exactly how that can be done. So when we go to create a new customer, now I'm assuming that the group has already been created at this point and it's already been set up as a billing group. So once that part's done, I can make a new customer. I can call it billing sub one or whatever, right? And by the way, in case you guys don't know, if you have required fields like email and phone number, if you don't want to fill them in, you can type NO in lowercase and it will just skip those fields. But the important part here is there's a group drop down right here on the new customer page. So you can choose, you find that master billing group. Here's a master billing test group that I'll use in this instance. Hit sign up and they'll automatically be added. And from their very first order, their bills will be paid by the group.
Mike, can you also show if someone forgets that last step and forgets to add them to the group upon sign up and they're already
Yeah,
signed up as a customer?
absolutely. Yep. It's and we did look at this a few minutes ago on when we were talking about billing versus general groups. So let's say I just signed up this test account and I meant to put them in a group, but I forgot to. I can come to their admin tab, assuming I'm up the appropriate employee level, and then I just click on the group drop down here, and here's that same group right there, master billing test, and I'll pretend to add them. So when I click save, they'll be added to the group. If you've already detailed an order before you put them in the group, that order is still going to be billed to them. It'll be a self-pay order. So you're going to want to go into that order and just like Gina showed, change the billing account to the group. If you get them in the group before you create their first order, you don't have to worry about that part. That makes sense, River? Did you get all that? Answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. You're welcome. All right, just trying to keep up with the chat here too. Okay. Yadira, hello.
Hi, yes. So following up on the group, sometimes the employees want to add the phone number. How can we do that? Because I only see the
Yadira,
option
I'm
for
very
the
sorry to
phone.
interrupt you. You sound very muffled. Is there any way you could speak up a little bit?
Yes. Is this better?
I think so. I think it's a little better.
Yes. Yes. How do we add phone numbers to each profile, like the employee's profile? Can we do that? Or is it just
So,
one main phone number for the whole account?
okay, so you're asking how to add a phone number. Oh, I think, you're asking how to add multiple phone numbers?
Right. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So you can only have one phone number that is functional for messaging. However, on the profile, my screen should still be shared, I think. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so on the profile, the cell phone field, that's the number that we'll send text to. We're not going to mess with the home phone field. So you can actually have two phone numbers in there. But if you need more, you can use this down here, this section, additional contacts. When you click on there, you could add more names. So if you maybe it's like a husband and wife, but you only want to use one account for them, you could put the other person's name here. But you don't have to fill most of these fields out. You can leave most of them blank and just add phone numbers as many times as you want. I don't think there's even a limit.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But feel free
Okay,
if you like.
I
There you are.
am unmuted now. I had tried before.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Go ahead.
So one question I had, which I had reached out about this for support before, was that is it possible? I'm not sure if this comes into this meeting, but there's something I'm just wondering for customers who would like to schedule like deliveries. And I know currently there's not an option where they're allowed to schedule whether bi-weekly or once per month. That's not an option. That's something that we manually have to go in each week to either cancel a pre-scheduled delivery or try to remember to schedule a customer for maybe bi-weekly deliveries or monthly deliveries. So I'm wondering if there is a way for something to be created or implemented into the system where that could be considered as an option for delivery. Because as of right now, I haven't seen anything in the settings that allows me to do that. And I mean, if we have like a good amount of customers, this is something that you have to manually write down and go in every week to check with the dates to schedule somebody. So I'm checking if there's a way to do that, or would that be something that you guys could consider for the future? But it would help us out a lot.
Sure. Okay. So there's a few components to this. One is and I've helped clients who have asked similar questions before and looking for solutions. One thing that can help at least with some of these customers potentially is to simply change them to will call. You switch them to will call, and then they get the will call opt-in message on the day before their would-be pickup day. They can just decline it, or well, they don't even have to decline it because they actually have to answer yes in order to get the stop. So if they ignore it, nothing happens and they're not scheduled. So all they have to do is just say, respond yes every other week or however often they want that pickup. That's one approach. Another approach is, and you are correct that Smart only supports a weekly cycle. So we can't do every other week, monthly, things like that right now, not explicitly. But there are ways you can kind of actually set up a reminder for yourself. And Gina has a really good solution for this. And Gina, I'm hoping you want to jump in and explain that real quick. The issue.
Sure, I can. A good way to remind yourself of some of this right now is, I mean, at least you can still use the system. I agree with you, Samantha. I would like to see biweekly and monthly options. However, like Mike explained in the beginning, at that point, you might want to consider just making them a will call. But if you want to make a reminder for any of those kinds of accounts, you just need to create an issue for that customer. So if you click right on the customer's name and you go to their notes section, you can go to their issues. Well, that would be current issues. My apologies. You can add an issue in the right corner here. And you have to select what the issue is, whether it, makes sense or not. I can just use other. And then you can actually assign it to you, yourself, or another team member that is usually doing this every week or every other week. So you can assign it to that person. You can give it a due date. So on, this day and this time, you can select the time as well. Create stops for next few months and save it. So when that date comes around, that employee, whether it's you or a different employee, they just go right to their notification center. So if they check their issues every day, that won't be a problem. So they just go right into their messages and you just go to your issues. And we can see all of the issues that were created. I'm not sure exactly where the one I made is going to end up, but so they can use that kind of as like a to-do list or a checklist. Hopefully that helps. But I am going to push for the feature request of the biweekly too. I'm kind of constantly pushing for that one. So I got your back.
Okay, and I think we can squeeze in one more from Marlene.
Thanks.
Hey.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Quick question.
Right.
On the credit card, when a client wants to swap out a credit card but keep the same credit card on file, maybe they don't want their husband to know how much something was, so they want to give us a different credit card. Is there any way to do that without losing the credit card on file, which is the one they really want to keep?
So you mean you want to make a payment with a credit card that's not the card that's on file?
Correct.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it'll let you do that. Trying to picture the interface. Gosh.
If you want me to answer
it only allows you to update or delete the card on file, to add a new card.
Yeah,
It's always a
Marlene.
problem.
So, you don't want to replace the actual card on file because, like you said, you're kind of only using the new card temporarily, anyways,
Mhm.
whether it's for 1 or 2 orders. So instead of replacing the card on file, when you're on the pay screen
Mhm.
for that order or for those orders, you can click use a new card. And
I
when you
see.
click use a new card, you can, of course, just use that new card, and you actually have the option to even save that on file
Can
too.
you share a screenshot of this, or?
I can try to. It's not gonna be quick because I have to find a customer with a card on file.
Okay, so take me through. I opened up but it would be helpful as you're doing these things and talking about everybody's, different issues that might come up.
Yes.
I'm a visual learner.
Mhm.
So sharing a screen and taking us through, maybe that would be helpful for me. But
Yeah.
so
I can
you're
find
telling me I
one.
should go to the credit card box on their profile where their regular card is?
No. So if
Okay. Go to the
you're paying
payment
for the
tab.
order, so does that person
Okay.
have an open order?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to make payment, right?
I'm not sure exactly where you are, but yes,
Oh,
you can go
okay.
there.
So make payment. I don't see add something. So let me see.
I don't know if Mike too, you have a customer with a card on file that you can show this. I'm trying to find someone.
Yeah, trying to show it in a way that I don't show certain personal information.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So this is a dummy account with a card on it.
Okay, got it.
So basically, if you have an order, let's say it's this order, for example, and you were to pay this order, instead of using the card on file, you'll see this button where it says use new card.
Okay.
And
I don't know
then
if I've ever seen that.
So once you do that, when you hit pay, it'll take you through the steps to add the new card, but it will not replace the card that's already on file.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll try that next time. This is really good. This is a very good way to keep everybody in the know. So thanks for putting it together.
The reason also you probably didn't see use a new card is you will only see that if someone does have a card on file already. And I'm sure most of your customers are auto pay, so I doubt if someone has a card on file, you're like on their pay screen a lot. So that it could also be why you didn't see it. But it should show up for everyone that does have a card on file.
Okay, I'll check it out the next time. Okay, thanks so much.
All right. Well, appreciate the feedback, Marlene. And thanks everyone for participating this week. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We will be back next week, same time, with a new theme. And we should be sending out a notification email in a few days. Let you know about that. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm love to see the turnout and I love talking to you guys. So it's been a blast and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care.